Okay, sorry about that.
That's
Thank you
okay.
very much for having me. I just Colette asked me to go over the USDA GAP-GHP program. So that's some of the things I was going to cover. It's not moving here.
So it bounced back to Diane, Todd, so if you bring the arrow to the slide and then click your mouse or your down arrow button, you should be able to take control of the slides again. Oh. Diane, I think you'll need to give the keyboard and mouse back to Todd again. He lost it. So while we're getting the keyboard and mouse figured out, I know that a number of people have heard about GAP's audits, and that as we move into what we consider to be semi-direct sales, which could be sales to restaurants, institutions, caterers, retail outlets, there could be the possibility that you would run into a situation where the buyer is asking you to show evidence of your good agricultural practices, or even require that you have had a GAP audit and that you've passed that audit. And so this is the relevance tonight of Todd's presentation, because we try to help people to think about what might the future be for food safety and selling into different markets. And part of what we see, because the concerns about food safety have increased, and we have these great tools for doing food safety planning and verification of food safety practices, that more and more people are interested in seeing that evidence when they're buying a product direct from a producer. Okay, yeah. Todd. Great.
I think we're ready.
Okay.
So with that, I think I'm ready. Okay. Okay. With that said, can we launch the first poll, please? I wanted to see how familiar everyone listening was with GAP audits.
Okay. So do you want to start with the food safety plan or with the GAP audit poll? The GAP audit?
GAP audit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and launch that. So our question is, how familiar are you with GAP audits? Very familiar? Somewhat familiar? You've heard the term, but you know nothing else, or you've never heard of them? So about 40%, 50% of our participants have voted. 75%. 80%. Give it a couple more minutes, or seconds actually. So if you haven't voted yet, please go ahead and finish up your voting. Okay, I'm going to close the poll and share the results. So 8% of our audience has said that they're very familiar with a GAP audit. 38% are somewhat familiar. 31% have heard the term but know nothing else. And 23% have never heard of them.
Okay. So that's good to know. We'll start with that. Essentially, a GAP or GHP audit is verification by a third party, an auditor, who would come in and verify your food safety practices as per your food safety plan that you've written. Audits and food safety plans focus on the idea of prevention, not reaction to any contaminations. So we're looking to reduce the chances of any incidents of occurring, but a lot of times these requests or these auditors can come in and just verify your practices. But by no means does an audit certification say that a food safety incident will not occur on your farm. Basically, we're verifying that the practice to reduce the chance of microbial contamination is happening, but there's still opportunities. But ideally, with your plan, you are reducing the chance of that. The USDA GAP-GHP audit program was developed at the request of industry. The program was piloted in 2001, and the GAP-GHP audit program was fully implemented in 2002. This program has grown from 138 audits performed in 2003 to about 3,100 audits performed in fiscal year 2011. So it's grown quite extensively since the inception of the program. The foundation of our GAP-GHP audit program is based on the FDA guidance document, which you can see from the slide. It's titled Guide to Minimize Microbial Food Safety Hazards for Fruits and Vegetables. This is available on the FDA website, but this guide covers 5 major areas of concern, which a lot of them Karen covered as well, but it covers water quality, manure, municipal biosolids, worker hygiene, field, facility, and transportation sanitation, as well as trace back. No, it's not moving. All right, some additional FDA guidance documents. You can see here on the screen the fresh cut fruit and vegetable, leafy green, melons, fresh tomatoes. These guidance documents are available on the FDA website. There are our USDA GAP-GHP audit doesn't specifically address these commodity-specific documents. There are other audits available to cover these things. We also use some other resources as far as our audit system and our program. We work closely with Cornell University as well as the Association of Fruit and Vegetable Inspection and Standardization Agencies, basically our federal state partners. We get a lot of information from them as well as their resource extension services in their states. So one of the questions that I was asked to answer is why are, what's going on with food safety audits? One of the issues that is happening for a lot of the large growers is that they're being requested by the people they are selling to have food safety audits. And one of the challenges in that area is that these growers and packers are selling to multiple retail outlets, and these retail outlets will request that they get a food safety audit, but maybe one will request one from USDA, maybe another one will request one from another auditing company, and it causes these growers or producers to incur high financial costs as well as time to have auditors from several different companies come out and perform audits. So that's one of the current challenges that's happening right now. And as a matter of fact, USDA is, to some extent, part of the challenge. Any growers or packers that are selling to USDA Commodity Procurement Division have to have a USDA audit. So if they had an audit from another company, that will not currently work. There are some changes coming up, but currently they have to have an audit performed by USDA. The USDA federal, state, and federal auditors perform these 5 audits that are here on the screen. The USDA GAP-GHP audit, which I'm going to cover a little more extensively here in a moment. It's, again, based on the FDA guide. We perform a mushroom audit, which is based on the Good Agriculture Practices program established by Penn State and the American Mushroom Institute. We do the tomato audit protocol, which that checklist is based on the commodity-specific food safety guidelines for tomatoes, which is owned and developed by the North American Tomato Trade Work Group. The produce gaps harmonized audit, which I'm going to come back to that. And also we do perform the leafy green marketing agreement audit against leafy greens, which is it's going to be a national marketing agreement very soon, what I understand, which was developed by industry.